السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء فاتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله ولتنظر نفس ما قدمت لكم واتقوا الله إن الله خبير بما تعملون. And about brothers, first we'd like to render all the praises to Allah and thank Allah for the opportunity to be here today on this day of Jumu'ah, and thank Allah for making us Muslims, because if we were not Muslims, we would not be here today. And I thank Allah for bringing Islam into my life, because unlike many of you here, or perhaps most of you here, I was not born in a Muslim family. I was born here in the United States, and my family were not Muslim when I was born. So I learned Islam through my own efforts, studying, applying myself, reading books, asking questions when I could, and trying to do the best I can to not only just learn about Islam, but most importantly, try to apply what I learned, try to live what I've learned, which is very, very important for all of us. What we'd like to talk about today in our brief khutbah is on the subject of being mindful of Allah's watchful eyes, like muraqabah, being aware, conscious of Allah's eyes watching, Allah's eyes always watching over the entire creation. In the opening statement, we mentioned two particular statements, phrases that brings us to what we want to talk about today. One is taqwa. Let us strive to increase our taqwa of Allah. And this is, we should try to obey His commands and to stay away from Allah's prohibition. And be mindful of Allah's watchful eyes over the whole creation, monitoring, witnessing, and recording all of our actions and our deeds. So we are advised to be conscious of Allah, and to try our best to obey and to serve Allah in the best manner possible. Inna Allaha kana alaykum raqiba was the ending of one of the ayahs that we read, and that is that surely Allah is a watcher over you. Surely Allah is watching over you. And another statement, Inna Allaha khabirun bima ta'amalun. That is that Allah is aware. So nothing escapes Allah's knowledge. Nothing at all escapes Allah's sight. Nothing escapes Allah's awareness. So this is what we would like to reflect on today, inshallah. So we talk about having taqwa of Allah. We hear this a lot. A lot of speakers come up here and they perhaps mention about having taqwa of Allah. And we may sometimes take it light, or we may hear it and just become a normal thing that we hear. But we should be striving for that. It's something that we have to apply ourselves. We have to exert some effort ourselves to increase the taqwa of Allah, to try to attain a higher level of taqwa. And to help us to attain a higher level of taqwa, we need to instill the character of muraqabah in us. And what is muraqabah? That is where a believer makes himself realize, makes himself realize that he is being watched by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So therefore, he tries to perform deeds that are pleasing and acceptable to Allah. Now reflect on that for a moment. Many of you work. You have your employee, you work for someone, you're an employee. And you know you have a boss or someone who is monitoring your production. You try to do your best to fulfill what is required of you, because you know that you've been watched, and there are consequences if you do not produce. So, when it comes to muraqabah, being mindful of Allah's watchful eyes, one of the characteristics of the muraqabah is that a believer knows and believes with certainty. I mean, there is no doubt. There's no maybe he's watching, maybe he's not. There is no doubt. There's clear and complete yaqeen, certainty, that nothing escapes Allah's watchful eye, that nothing in the entire universe escapes Allah's knowledge or observation. This is what muraqabah makes us to believe. In fact, when it comes to Allah being mindful and watchful, it's not just limited to us, although we are only concerned about ourselves, but Allah is aware of the entire creation. I mean, anything that happens in the entire universe is within Allah's knowledge and awareness. There's another ayat in the Quran that ends with the statement, وَكَانَ اللَّهَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ رَقِيبًا, that Allah is watchful over all things. And وَاللَّهُ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ شَهِيدٌ, that Allah is a witness of all things. So we don't take that light. This is something that is very, very significant in that there is nothing. I mean, when I performed the Hajj earlier this year, mashallah, one of the things that I noticed that stuck in my mind when we were there in the Mecca and Medina, and I saw all the people from all different walks of life, all different countries, speaking different languages. And I saw this and I observed this, and I had mentioned to my wife and some other people, I said, you know, this convinced me that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is aware of everything. I said, all these people come there. The majority of us did not speak Arabic, but we knew why we were there. We had a purpose for going there. We understood. Allah understood all of us. Allah knew all. I looked at those millions of people. I said, Allah knows all the details of their life. I mean, the minute details of their life, their situation, their circumstances, Allah knows it. Their language, Allah knows it and understands it. Their heart, their intent, all of these things, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is aware of. And then I thought to myself, I said, well, you know, sometimes I can't even remember what I thought about a few moments ago. I mean, a few moments ago, a thought came across my mind and it had left me. And I said, wow, we are worshiping a deity, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who has comprehensive knowledge of the entire creation. Nothing escapes his knowledge. Nothing at all escapes Allah's knowledge. That's how powerful Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. And that convinced me that yes, we are worshiping a deity that is none like unto him. There is no comparison. There is none like unto him in this entire creation. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when we think about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala being aware of what's going on in the creation, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is aware of everything before it happens, while it is occurring, after it happens. So Allah is aware of what's going to take place in the future that has not occurred yet. Something is taking place right now. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is aware of it. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is aware of what happened in the past. So that is Allah's vision of the, it is a vision that is not comparable to anyone. You know, we sometimes remember what we did in the past, or we can remember what something happened in the past. Sometimes we can see what's going on in our immediate situation right now, but we have no knowledge of what's going to happen in the future. So muraqabah is having a consciousness that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always aware of the affairs of the entire creation, past, present, and future. And that's why we make dua, we pray to Allah to bless us with what we know, what we don't know that may come in the future. We seek Allah's forgiveness for what has happened to us in the past. And we seek protection
protection what's going on in our lives right now, because we don't know the results of what's going on in our lives at this moment. So we should have this consciousness and conviction that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always watching and observing. However, if we are negligent and allow the consciousness of being under Allah's watchful eyes to escape us, this can lead to a tendency to transgress against Allah. If you're not thinking about Allah, thinking about Allah is watching you, thinking about Allah recording you, the tendency, I'm not saying that you would do this and stuff, hopefully not, but the tendency would be to do what you want to do because you figure that who knows, who sees of me doing it, so I can just do what I want to do. So for Muslims to help us, and for believers to help us to overcome this tendency to feel that we can do what we want to do and nobody sees us, there are several passages in the Quran, some that we read already, in Hadith statement by our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Wherever you go, wherever you do, whatever you do, know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with you. Never forget that. وَاللَّهُ مَعَكُمْ أَيْنَمَا كُنْتُمْ وَاللَّهُ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ بَصِيرٌ. Allah is with you, not only here, but wherever you are. And Allah sees all that you do. Wow. I mean, that's a powerful statement. I mean, Allah sees all that you do. I don't know what, my wife is back here behind that curtain. I have no idea what she's doing back there. If I go behind that curtain, I'm not hiding from Allah. If I go in the house, turn off all the lights, and put myself in a dark room where nobody can see me, I'm not hiding from Allah. This is Allah. So the Prophet Muhammad, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us that we should serve Allah as though we are seeing Him. We are familiar with the hadith. You serve Allah as though you are seeing Him. And though you cannot see Allah, to know that Allah is seeing you. This is good advice. This is good advice for the muraqabah. So you walk through your life, you go through your activities, you live as though you're seeing Allah. And you know that Allah sees you. But think about this. We all perform deeds. Sometimes we perform things that we should not have performed, and sometimes we perform things that we wish we had not have performed. and sometimes we have a habit of doing things that we really would like to break the habit of what we're doing. So, if you want to transform your habitual actions, things that you do all the time, whether it may not be good things to do as a Muslim, if you want to change your habitual habits into ibadah and awareness of Allah's presence, then you follow the Quran and the Sunnah, the advice of the Quran and the Sunnah. Because following the injunctions of the Sharia brings to mind the lawgiver, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And thinking of the lawgiver, thinking of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, thinking of the Quran and the Sunnah, reminds us that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us of Allah's presence. If you think about Allah, you're thinking about you, that reminds you that Allah is always there. You should never try to forget about Allah. Because awareness of Allah's presence reminds us that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with us, is always there. Is always there, always with us, always watching, always observing, no matter where we are. Whether it's dark, in the darkness, the deep darkness of the night, or the bright light of the daytime. Whether we are in a crowd with a lot of people, or we're probably somewhere in a closet, hidden away in our home. Whether we're on the sea, or in the air, or on the land. Doesn't matter where we are, Allah is with us. Now think about this. If one of us, you or me, would go through life seeing Allah. If we went through life seeing Allah like I see you, and if we see Allah observing us, we probably would not leave off anything or neglect anything required of us in obedience to Him, nor indulge in anything that's prohibited or disliked, blah, blah. In this world, the mere, man there's laws, man have laws. So we fear and obey or abide by the laws set by man in this world. For example, the mere sight of you driving your car down the road, the mere sight of a camera monitoring your speed, or you see a police car on the side and you think maybe monitoring your speed is sufficient to slow you down, right? You say, okay, I'm being watched, let me slow down and get within this law, right? Why do you do that? Because you know that there's some worldly consequences. If you don't slow down, you stop, you make it a speeding ticket, you pay hundreds of dollars, you may lose your driver's license and other kinds of consequences. Okay. However, dear brothers and sisters, we should give more importance to compliance to the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is there and all the time, not just when a camera is there when you're riding down the road. If you don't see a police in the car or a state trooper on the side of the road, you feel you're okay to keep going. Or if you don't see a camera, you feel you're okay to keep going fast. But Allah is there all the time. And Allah sees, not only does Allah see everything, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hears everything. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows our hearts, knows what's in our hearts, whether we express it openly or keep it concealed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows it. So we know that Allah knows the secret and apparent matters of all things. And unlike man's law, if you get caught violating man's law, the consequences or the penalties that man can give you only affects your worldly life. Your life in this world, it's all. It ends there. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's law impacts our eternal hereafter life. Which one is more important to protect yourself from? It's more important to protect ourselves from the penalties coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because it's going to affect our life beyond this world. Not just paying a few dollars fine and then everything is okay, you're back to normal, or something like that. No, it goes with you into the hereafter. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. إن إلينا إيابهم ثم إن علينا حسابهم. Surely, brothers and sisters, we came from Allah, and surely our return, our place of return and accountability is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will question us about how we perform, the deeds we perform in this life. There is no way for any of us to get around that. So we were talking about muraqabah, being mindful of Allah's watchful eyes. Muraqabah makes us realize that every deed that we perform, no matter how small, whether it's a good in the eyes of Allah or bad in the eyes of Allah. It is witnessed and recorded. Every deed that we perform is witnessed and recorded, and will be recompensed accordingly when we return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when we think about the awareness of Allah's witnessing and recording our deeds, it should remind us of Yom Hisab. There is one of the names of the day of judgment, the day of resurrection, Qiyamah. The day of judgment is Hisab, Yom Hisab. One of the things that we should be mindful of is that is accountability, reckoning, accountability for things that we do. So we never can escape when it comes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We can never escape judgment with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because Yom Hisab is the day when all matters will be accounted for. All matters will be accounted for. That is the day when mankind will stand before the Rabbul Alameen, the Lord of all the world, and see and answer for their lives in this world. So, we will end with this statement, inshallah. Having the characteristics of muraqabah should make us examine ourselves. It should make us take a look at ourselves and realize that, hey, that everything that I do in this life will have an impact on my akhirah or hereafter life. So, what am I doing in this life? How am I living this life? What am I setting forth for that day that is going to be waiting for me when I return to Allah? So therefore, we should be diligent. We should be diligent in exercising careful watch over ourselves. I'm not saying to be, just go back home and just stop doing everything that you're doing. Look at what you're doing. Do what you need to do, but look at it and see what are you doing? Why am I doing it? What are the? How is it fitting in with my relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? All these things we should be looking at. There's another word in addition to muraqabah is muhasabah, and that is generally means to self-criticism, to self-interrogation, to self-assessment, questioning yourself, asking yourself, what did I mean by what I just said? We just say something. What was the purpose of that act that I just performed, that deed I just did? Ask yourself and be honest with yourself. Don't deceive yourself because you cannot deceive Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sometimes we do things, right? I don't mean you and me, but people in general. The human being does things and then try to justify what they did to themselves. Oh, you see people like that, right? Who've done something and then they justify it to themselves, telling themselves all the reason they did it to make themselves feel good. Don't do that when it comes to Allah. Allah knows our hearts, knows our intentions, everything. We don't have to go and try to convince Allah that we meant it one way or another way, because Allah is the best knower. That would be foolish for me to tell someone who knows my heart, my intentions, for me to try to convince Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala what I meant by this. You are the best knower. You know what was my motive behind it. And if it was wrong, you seek forgiveness. Allah to forgive you for that and to strengthen you in those areas that you're weak. So we should do our own self-assessment. We should do our own searching of our own heart, evaluating ourselves, hold ourselves accountable for what we've done that we know we should not have done. before we are held accountable by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala after. So, as Muslims, we should always be evaluating ourselves. We should always be reviewing our actions. We should always be reviewing our speech in an effort to improve ourselves and to increase our loyalty and obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah al-azim alladhi la ilaha illa hu al-hayy al-qayyum wa la ilaha. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد بعدد كل داء ودواء مبارك سلم عليه وعليه كثيرا كثيرا صل وسلم يا ربي على حبيبك محمد وعلى جميع الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آل كل وصحب كل أجمعين آمين والحمد لله رب العالمين ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار اللهم أجرنا من النار اللهم أجرنا من النار اللهم أجرنا من النار اللهم أجرنا من كل نار اللهم اغفر لنا ما قدمنا وما أخرنا وما أعلنا وما أسررنا وما أنت أعلم به منا أنت المقدم أنت المؤخر لا إله إلا أنت ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين الحمد لله رب العالمين حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل كثير الصلاة
الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
I apologize for calling. I have an asthma problem, and my asthma kind of kicking in right now. So please forgive me.
اسم ربك الذي خلق فسوى والذي قدر فهدى والذي أخرج المرعى فجعله غثاء أحوى سنقرئك فلا تنسى إلا ما شاء الله إنه يعلم الجهر وما يخفى ونيسرك لليسرى فذكر إن نفعت الذكرى سيذكر من يخشى ويتجنبها الأشقى به يصلى النار الكبرى ثم لا يموت فيها ولا يحيا قد أفلح من تزكى وذكر اسم ربه فصلى بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير وأبقى إن هذا لفي الصحف الأولى صحف إبراهيم وموسى الله أكبر سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين والضحى والليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى وللآخرة خير لك من الأولى ولسوف يعطيك ربك فترضى ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى ووجدك ضالا فهدى ووجدك عائلا فأغنى فأما اليتيم فلا تقهر وأما السائل فلا تنهر وأما بنعمة ربك فحدث الله أكبر سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر السلام عليكم ورحمة الله السلام عليكم ورحمة الله
So we have today. But first of all, please donate to the masjid because we have like monthly bills that should be aware and all of that. So there is a lecture that is coming on January 11th, which is going to be Saturday from 7:45 to 9 p.m. And the topic is the building blocks of trust. So this is going to be presented by Imam Mufti Wasim. So it's the building block of trust. So it's just creating great relationship between you and your children, how they can come to you whenever they have problems